In the last video, we were looking at this query and we were wondering why it is that we can refer to the break-even alias in the order by clause, but if we try to reference break-even in our where clause, it doesn't work. So if we introduce a where clause, it stops working and we get an error that says the column break-even does not exist. The reason we can refer to break-even in order by, but not in where, is because the order in which different query clauses are executed is different from the order that they're written in. This is actually a bit unusual compared to most programming languages you might have worked with, where lines are processed in the order that they're written. And this ultimately stems from SQL's nature as a declarative language. So what is the actual order then that clauses are processed in? And what I'll do is type this in a multi-line comment as follows. So anything that appears between this /* and */ will be treated as a comment. The processing of a SQL statement actually starts with the from clause, which is where we pick the tables to be queried. Next is the where clause, and that's where we filter the rows. After that, and I'll scroll down a little bit, there's actually a clause called group by that's processed. We haven't worked with the group by clause yet, but we'll be looking at that in the next chapter. And you can use group by to aggregate rows together. After that comes having, which is used to filter those aggregates. Then finally, we process the select clause. And as you know, the select clause is where we select the columns that appear in the output. After select, we have order by, which, as we know, sorts the rows. And then finally, we have limit, which again, we haven't been introduced to yet, but we will in the very next video. And limit is used to limit the number of returned rows. So this order that I've laid out the clauses here, from, where, group by, having, select, order by, and limit, is the actual order that the clauses are processed in a SQL statement. And that's different from the way you write it. When you're writing a query, you actually move the select part up to the top. Whenever we've been writing queries so far, the select is always the first line, isn't it? Let's close this. So returning now to our query, do you understand why we can't refer to the break-even alias in the where clause? Let's look at how this query is actually processed. So the query planner, or the query execution engine, says from film. Next, it processes the where clause, and it says from film where break-even is greater than 20. But at this point in the query processing, break-even doesn't exist. And so we get an error that says, what is this column break-even? I don't know what it is. And that's because the select line hasn't been run. The alias has not yet been defined. The alias doesn't actually get defined until much further below, when we get to processing the select clause. And you can see then why it is that you're not able to refer to the alias in the where clause, but you are able to refer to the alias in the order by clause, because order by is processed after the select. So by the time that you get to order by, the alias has now been defined and we can refer to it successfully. It's important to memorize this order of operations. It will be handy for future occasions to understand why your queries may have errors, and also to help you think about possible performance optimizations you could do. So memorize this: from, where, group by, having, select, order by, limit. Repeat it back to yourself as many times as necessary so that it sticks in your head. From, where, group by, having, select, order by, limit. So now that we know what the problem is, how do we fix our query? Because we actually do want to only filter and return rows where the break-even column is greater than 20. There's two ways that we can do this. The first is we actually just repeat the expression instead of referring to the alias. So rather than saying where break-even is greater than 20, what we'll do is we'll just copy this expression and we'll paste it here. And let's run that. And look at the output to see if that works successfully. So we only wanted to return those rows where the break-even was greater than 20, and we're ordering by break-even descending. Let's scroll down through the output. Okay, that looks like that worked. So that's one way you can fix this issue. There's another way, which I'll introduce in a future chapter, which is where you can use what's called a derived table or a table subquery, but we'll get to that later on. For now, we have a simple way to solve problems like this as they come up. Just repeat the expression rather than referring to the alias in our where clause or in our group by and having clauses.